Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest today. We have E.D. Hackett, and she is an author who has written, I've seen the 2 books. She's got 4, right?
Yes.
Welcome. Edie, do you want to be called Erica or E.D.?
You can refer to me as Edie.
Okay, E.D. And the first one, I could not put this down. I finished it. I said, I'm going to see her tomorrow. I've got to finish it. About 3 o'clock this morning, The Havoc in My Head. What a journey. She's going to tell you about it. This is a real journey based on true facts of a journey. A medical one with a tumor in the pituitary gland. She's going to tell you all about that one. I could relate because I've been through radiation and then I had the mass. We'll talk about that later, but it is really something. Now, I didn't get a chance to read this one. It looks terrific too. Reinventing Amara Levintis. And we'll talk about that too. I think you've got 2 other books under there too that she brought.
Yes.
I haven't had a chance. This one, every single night until I don't get to usually read till around midnight at night. I'm so busy. So I made it. I said it's 2:30, 2:45. I'm finishing this. So anyway, you came in from Millbury today.
Yes.
You like it there?
I do. I love it.
They've got a good library.
They do.
I like their library a lot. Of course, I go to different libraries.
Yeah.
What made you decide to read? We'll talk about the Havoc in My Head. What made you decide to do it?
Well, like you said, it's based on true events of my life, and I actually had started keeping a journal the day that I found out that I was sick. And by the time we got through the multiple surgeries and I was scheduled to start radiation, it was a journey that really impacted my family. And there was a lot of processing that I needed to do regarding my diagnosis and the change in our family dynamic. And so I started to write a novel about it. I did change the names of the characters and the details around the characters. But the events in the story and that emotional piece is exactly what I went through. So I know some people have commented that it reminds them almost of a diary, and it really was for me as I was writing it. I was just creating it in a way that could tell a story.
And it wasn't that long ago. You
No.
started, it was just before COVID hit like crazy.
Yeah, I was diagnosed Halloween weekend with my tumor, and I underwent my first surgery 2 weeks later.
That was fast.
Yeah.
And you were amazed at, what's that doing? Timmy Tumor, you called it.
Yes.
Timmy the Tumor, that is so cool. She named it. I didn't name mine. I had hospital phobia. And I made it through giving birth to my son. But I'm telling you, I was so petrified, Erica, that I called the, they help people, can't think of the advocates.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, look, I want, what you do with children and you give them a tour, will you please do that?
Yeah.
I had a girl assign me about my age. She was one of the advocates. She took me around. She showed me where I would be and what I would see. She came before I was brought in, and I'm laying there in recovery. I look up, and there's one of the gentlemen who was an advocate. They're wonderful. Did you think to get an advocate?
No, I didn't. I mean, it happened really fast.
Yeah.
There were so many doctors that came in and out that weekend that I was admitted. I was just kind of, I mean, they were using vocabulary words. I didn't even know what it meant.
Yeah.
I had no idea. So it was really overwhelming.
You had a lot. How many? 3 main doctors you had? 3 of them?
Yeah, I had my neurosurgeon, my ENT, my endocrinologist, my neuro-ophthalmologist, and my neuro-oncologist.
That's a huge bunch to try in your condition, to try and, I've got so many pages marked off here because then you were hosting, let me get this straight, you were going through this and you were hosting, it was a Thanksgiving occurrence in the family for 2 days, too long. Oh my, I could never have done that. How did you do it?
So that part actually was not factual. But I wanted to create the dynamic of that feeling of being overwhelmed with all of life's responsibilities and trying to keep up with what you would typically do, but it was still new at that point for the main character, but keeping it kind of secret because of the children and you're not quite sure what's happening. In real life, Thanksgiving was when my daughter was admitted with her appendicitis. Yes,
that was another
thing. So that
thing.
did really happen in the story.
That poor child. I mean, she'd already been seeing mom going through hell.
Yeah.
And then she ends up with appendicitis. She wound up back in the emergency room.
Yeah.
Waiting. I know.
Waiting.
There was one thing. What's another one here? There is so much in this book. You're going to love it. They pulled the plastic down. Tell us about the mask and how you felt.
Oh, the mask. So for radiation, you put on, it was like a mesh plastic coating that was hot and wet, and they put it over your face, and they basically massage your face to mold the shape of the mask to fit perfectly. But it dries and hardens, and it's just, you can't breathe. They strap it to the table. They pretty much bolt it down.
Yeah, that's what they did to me.
And for the radiation, we had to lay there for 20 minutes at a time, and it was, if you have claustrophobia, it could be very problematic. And so I went into my meditative state where I closed my eyes and I imagined that I was in a sauna and getting a facial, and the plastic pressing up against my eyes was actually cucumbers, and that was really the only way that I could get through it day after day.
I don't remember the extreme that you did. I remember I had to go, like you, 5 days a week, and I really wasn't big on driving alone into Worcester yet.
Yeah.
A little creepy for me, I don't know. So I had a friend, I had to get somebody to take me. My husband was working, somebody to take me every day or be with me or something.
Right.
And I remember I brought one friend, she had a camera. I said, take pictures of me. So while I'm lying there, and she's looking through the window, taking the pictures. And then at the end, you walked out and they gave you the certificate.
Yeah.
Tell us about what it said in the certificate. I got it right here. Courage, perseverance, and good health. I never realized how much pent-up, emotion I carry deep within my soul. It's so important that they do that.
Yeah.
They did it with me, too.
It was so nice, and I remember walking out, and everyone was cheering, and then walking to where the bell was and ringing the bell, because you're all done.
Ring the bell 3 times.
Yeah.
Were you surprised?
I didn't know. I had no idea what they did, but, I mean, it really is such an intimate event because you're there every day for 5 or 6 weeks and you see the same people every time, and so it does become almost like a comfort. So
yeah, I know in the waiting room where I went, oncology, they had a huge fishy tank. And I saw the benefit to that is you could look at that for all day,
Yeah.
I like that. I'm trying to think what I used to think of when I went in the radiation tank. Knowing me, like I've been in an MRI, I usually think, okay, what am I going to do when I get out of here? When I start thinking, I'm going to go to that store, I'm going to go to this lab, I think ahead. And then I think, yes, this is a great time to just... MRIs are no fun either.
No, they're not.
I don't... They can give you, do they ever give you the kind that it's an optical illusion?
Oh, yes.
I always ask for that.
Yes.
And then
I know,
you get the swish ball.
I keep my eyes closed the whole time.
Yeah, I do too. But once in a while I'll peek and like, oh yeah, they're there. And then they give you, like you said, the squish ball.
Yeah.
You've never had to use it.
No, I haven't.
Did they talk to you like how many minutes?
Yeah. Some of them did, like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, almost done, 2 more.
For my foot, I went in feet first, which was great because part of my head was out. But the last one I had, the head goes in first. I don't know about you, but I start going like this. Like, no. It goes too deep.
Everything starts falling asleep. It's like my fingers are tingling, my toes are tingling.
Yeah, definitely. You have been through so much. We are talking with Edie Hackett. She is the author of what we've been talking about, The Havoc in My Head. You've been through radiation type of thing. Surgery, serious stuff. You're going to love this book. You brought copies for downstairs, right?
I did, yes.
Oh, boy. You gotta read it. Now, also, we're going to talk about the others later, but also one more. Edie, how did they get a hold of your book and you?
So I do have a website. It's www.edhackettwrites.com. So when you're typing it out, it's Ed Hackett. There's no periods in there.
You have it's got like a line underneath. Oh, Christopher. Yeah, it has the line underneath, E.D, then the line, not the dash, the line. Hackett, Hackett, at yahoo.com.
Yep, that's my email.
Yep, that's her email.
The website is edhackettwrites.com, just straight.
Where have you been getting out and giving presentations and signings?
So I had one at the Millbury Public Library. I've been on a couple of podcasts because the month of October is Pituitary Awareness Month, and so I wanted to really talk about the novel, especially during that time.
I know there are so many places, everything from senior centers to book cafes, you name it.
Yeah,
they need to hear you.
I've been to Tatnook
Very
in
good.
Westboro.
Yep. That's a good start. Did you go in the
so.
back or did you go at the front?
I was at the front
Okay.
Because I wanted it to be very natural. I didn't want to have a presentation planned.
It's a nice big room back there. I've given presentations.
Yes.
I kind of liked it.
Yeah, I did see the room.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Now, what we are looking at. Tell me, and I haven't had a chance to read this one yet. Tell us about Reinventing Amara Levintis.
All right, so Reinventing Amara Levintis, the inspiration behind that book was the little cafe that opened in our town by a Greek family, and we had been in a couple of times. They have all their Greek pastries, and they make them all from scratch, and it just was so nice, the atmosphere, the pictures on the walls, the music in the background. And so I wanted to incorporate that type of family into my fiction book. So it's about a woman graduated from college, and her family's from Greece, and she wants to get away from that. They own a bakery. She wants to be independent. She changes her name to Amara. It's not her real name, but she just doesn't want to be associated with her family and her history. And so this is her journey. Her roommate's getting married, so she's forced back home, and in order to stay at her parents' house, they are making her work at the bakery. And that's where she learns a lot of life lessons about her identity, giving back to the community, and just being a little bit more compassionate to people. And so that's what that novel is about, is women's fiction. And there's some humor in there. There's a little bit of a love story in there, but it's mostly about her journey.
Her journey.
Now,
yes. Again, it's called Reinventing Amara Levintis. How long did it take you to write this one?
I actually wrote that in 2 months.
Months?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
2 months. Wow. And then, by the time I had the cover and the editor and all of the revisions, it probably was 8 months from start to finish.
I love this in the back of the book. Edie Hackett loves writing, reading, and anything related to Ireland.
Yes.
You have the map of Ireland. Was this the picture of you with the hat on? And wait a minute. Was it this one?
That was on my website.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because you didn't quite look the same with the hat. So she prefers reality television, right here, over movies, ice cream over cake, and fall over summer. We are so much alike.
Yeah.
She resides in New England with her loving, supportive family. How old are the kids now?
14 and 11.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
So I think, is the boy the youngest or oldest?
He's the older.
How's he doing?
Good. Yeah, I mean, he's a typical boy, so not overly emotional.
And Alex is the girl.
Yes, that's not my daughter's real name.
Okay.
But yeah, so she was 8 at the time, so it was definitely harder for her to kind of see me like that.
Remember the trip you took to the cabin? Tell them about what happened.
Well, actually, that part was not...
okay, that's all right.
That's not true also, but in the novel, they went to the cabin. She wanted to have one last hurrah before everything like a family trip and have it be perfect. And they ended up leaving, I think, the next day because everyone was fighting. No one was happy. It was just so stressful.
No place to sleep.
Nowhere to sleep. And that is really the story of my life. We are always making plans thinking they're going to be wonderful. And because with a family of 4, the dynamic, I mean, everyone reacts differently to different things, or they want different things at different times, and it's just stressful.
Yeah.
So I think just being a parent, you have these ideas of what it will be like, but in reality, it's not. So, I mean, in that novel too, The Havoc in My Head, the journey that my main character took was from being very career-oriented, very material items-oriented, and realizing that those things are not necessarily important in life.
Yep.
And so that was the journey that she went on. And I think it's a journey or a theme that a lot of people struggle with, especially today, you know, thinking that success equals happiness.
Yeah, I've heard that. Well, I used to be a live-in nanny years ago, and I was living in some of the yuppie huts. But what got me, I'm just like you, it's like, I don't care. I don't clean the house for you to visit me. You're here to see me. To hell with the house. I'll cover up the dishes in the sink with a towel.
Right.
To hell with it. But I noticed in a lot of those families, they couldn't afford, they'd have all these rooms, but they couldn't afford to put any furniture in there. They were in high debt on every single thing. How happy is that?
Right. It's not. It's so stressful.
I think I was taught in my family, if you have wealth, and I think some people in my family did, you are not ostentatious. That is the last thing that you do. And I had no idea growing up that we were okay. My mom was, I got to ask your father first if you want that skirt. It was like, I always thought we were at death's door financially. She was good. They weren't. They were fine. But we lived way up in a hill in a custom-made house. But my friends were down the street at the ordinary houses. We all got along great. I didn't hang up there further into the neighborhood with the kids that had, they didn't.
Right.
I didn't get along with them because they were plastic.
Right. It's different.
Yeah, it is. And you found this out too. I could relate to that so much when you said that. Oh gosh, yes. Now, show us the other 2 books that you brought.
So I brought 2 books. They go together.
Yeah.
They're in a series. This was the first book I ever wrote,
The
An Unfinished Story.
What's that about?
So this is about a woman from Boston that works for a newspaper, and she's given an assignment to live on Block Island for 8 weeks and live like a local and write about it in the lifestyle section of the paper. But partway through, the newspaper gets bought out and shut down. And so now she's on this island without a job, without money, but she's learning to really love that life. She's staying in a house on the property of a bed and breakfast, and the woman that runs the bed and breakfast is only running it because her parents owned it. And so when her mom dies, she tries to sell, and she's told that in her mother's will, she has to keep it in the family, and if she does sell, it's going to every business on the island as a thank you. And so there's these 2 women in very different places, and they're both kind of struggling with the same thing, this push-pull of who they want to be and who they feel they're forced to be by outside elements. So that's what that story is about.
And it's called, hold it up again.
An Unfinished
Story. So these are going to be at the library, right?
Yes.
If you're near Upton, whatever, come on down to the dedicated local authors.
They're
section.
also in Millbury.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah.
So they're in the Millbury Library, too. So, see, once you're on YouTube, though, you're also all over the world.
Yeah.
So if you're out of state or out of the country, at least we're telling you about it.
But this one was my very first novel that I ever wrote.
How many years ago was it?
It was 2018,
oh my gosh.
I believe.
Yeah.
And it was before I had studied what a novel is. So I do feel like every novel I write gets a little bit more and it gets stronger as a book.
Yes.
But then this was the sequel to it, Hope Hannah Murphy, and this is the girl who ran the bed and breakfast. And she kept the bed and breakfast because it was in the will, and she's still running it. And she does the DNA test and finds out that she actually is not the child of her parents. And she feels betrayed because she is now in her 40s and never knew this. And she was actually dropped off at the inn as a child. And so she goes on a journey to find her birth family. And so that's what this one is about.
That looks good too. Now, what's it called again?
Hope Hannah Murphy.
Hope Hannah Murphy.
Yes.
Now, have you got, I don't know if I have to tell you, I interview an awful lot about this. My viewers know it. You have, and I'm going to tell you straight out, you have an absolutely fantastic way of keeping it simple, believable to the hilt, and unputdownable.
Thank you.
Really good. I mean, for me to stay up till almost 3 a.m., I'm like, I'm going to finish this. It really, really is very good. Do you have anything else on the horizon?
Yes, I do actually. I just wrote a sweet romance, and I'm hoping that will be out around Christmas. It's called Farmhouse Bliss. It's a dual perspective, so it's the female and the male, and they're both going through their own journey. Again, the woman, her mother passes away, and she goes home to take care of the arrangements and hasn't been home in years, and the house that she grew up in is in shambles.
Yeah.
So she has to renovate it, and she wants to sell it to make a quick dollar. And the contractor there is a widow, and he's going through his own stuff, and the two of them work together on the house to get it ready for sale, and they end up falling in love.
This sounds
Spoiler.
really cool. I like it when people
Spoiler
have
alert.
to go into an old house and have to do something to it. That sounds really good. Is it like a mystery too?
It's not a mystery. It's definitely an emotional journey for the female main character. And even the male, his wife died suddenly, so he's struggling with that and what she would want for him to do with his life.
You have a very good way of the havoc in my head. I mean, it was like I was right there with her.
Yeah.
Right there with you. And, you know, you have a talent, obviously, medically, too. The other books are great. There you have a very, I can picture you writing a book. You know how some people will gather other people, maybe in a support group, say, would you like to contribute to this? I can see you doing that.
I actually did reach out to people in my support group. I was going to, at the end of the book, include short stories that they wrote about their journey, but no one
wanted to step up?
No one took me up on the offer.
Not everybody, I guess, is that concerned about getting their word out, but what they don't get is it's going to help someone else.
Right.
Okay, what you've done here, the havoc in my head, I would guess give that to anybody. It doesn't have to be just a pituitary tumor. It could be what I went through, a parotid tumor. It could be any type of thing. This book takes you inch by inch what the woman went through. And
yeah, and I mean, it's kind of a heavy topic, but I tried to make it as inspiring as I could. You know, COVID is thrown in there, which I think everyone can relate to. Just the kids one day coming home from school and they're never going back, and what do we do?
And then the math, I'm just like you. I was lost with the math of these kids. My own son. I'm like, what do you have to go through New Jersey to add 2 and 1?
Yeah, I know.
All these, I think I was a nanny at one point, and the little boy's mother wanted me to help him with math. I'm like, oh, please. And then I looked at it thinking, well, he's in only 2nd grade. I can help him with this. And then I looked at it and I said, what is this?
Right, maybe not.
Why did they take them 25 steps to get to 2 minus 1 is 1?
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I don't see the logic in it.
I don't know. I mean,
you had that too.
Yeah, I don't understand the math and how it takes 7 minutes to solve an addition problem, but
we all made it just fine.
Right.
And math besides, but I don't know about you, but when I hit high school, Algebra was tricky, but when they started throwing trig at me, I was done. I had to have a tutor get me to pass sophomore, but it was college prep. I should never have bothered with that. I could have still gotten in.
Yeah.
It was a nightmare. Tell us, again, how they can get you in your books.
So I'm actually on Amazon. That's where I have my paperbacks and my ebooks available. I do send out a newsletter twice a month from my website, just kind of updating you on my writing journey. It's ediehacketwrites.com. And I am on Instagram and Facebook, and you can find me there as well.
Very good. We get her out here more personally. Computers are fine, but there's nothing beats meeting that author. We got about 4 minutes left, and I wanted to say, well, I've already talked about this. I can't wait to get the other three. But this one, if you've been out there and if you've been through the journey of cancer surgery, you know, from the neck up, you got to wear the mask and this all type of thing. I know we're not alone on that. But I remember bringing mine home back, and then I was determined to show it on the talk show I had. This is what it was. And also, couldn't you use it as a mask for Halloween, like Jason or something?
I know.
They're not pretty. But
No.
it looks like not paper mache, but you had marks on your face.
Yeah, I did. It was so tight. It was like, it was just crisscross all over my face from the plastic pressed.
That was hard on you. Did you tell them it's kind of tight?
I thought it was normal. I mean, it was my very first time wearing it. I thought that's how tight it was supposed to be. I didn't know.
Yeah. What was it I told you I called the surgeon. I said, nope, I'm done.
Yeah.
And it was quality of life. And he goes, no, stick with it, please. And it wasn't because it was too tight. It was just I didn't like that after effect. You can't be a talk show. I have to have water with me all the time. And, it scared me. I'm like, I have an hour. These are half an hour. I had an hour live show.
Yeah.
And my son was, maybe 1 year old. And I couldn't get a babysitter, all the time. So I brought him one day to the station. I said to the staff, could you just watch him here in the control room? He's got toys. He's fine. Well, we were in the process of filming it, and I had a wonderful elderly videographer who'd done movies and things. And suddenly, Wally, my son, ran out of the control room. They couldn't get him. Ran up to the stage where the show was, helped himself to the water the guest had.
Oh, no.
And I said, okay, we're going to handle this. Every mother understood. I just picked him up, put him on my lap, and we continued.
Let's keep going.
And people loved it.
Yeah.
And who was it going to stop the show?
Right.
It was live.
Exactly. Right.
But people loved it. But I'm telling you, when you have kids, you don't know what
you have no idea what's going to happen.
No, he was determined. He wanted that water. And he wanted to be up on the stage. This will surprise me. No. Thank you so much for being with us, Edie.
Oh, you're welcome.
We're going to have you
for
back,
having me.
right?
Sure.
We need you to come
Absolutely.
back. She's right up the street in Millbury. I love Millbury.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time on Be My Guest.
Thank you.
Riding on a shooting star, heading out toward a dream. Tomorrow's even closer than it seems.